After saying that, the variants stopped moving, because the flurry of attacks had been so strong that it caused both to lose their lives to their injuries. Goku hadn't expected this result, but he had no choice but to finish off those out-of-control variants. Meanwhile, Mark was doing the same, since he didn't plan to give them the chance to cause more destruction. I wonder how long you'll last before you beg for your life. The only one who will be begging is you. Without warning, Mark charged forward like a bullet, delivering a strong punch to his variant's face, who could barely see the blow coming. The attack launched him backward, smashing through several structures, but Mark didn't stop and threw himself after him, blow after blow without mercy, giving him no room to respond. He slammed him into a wall and lifted him by the neck to smash him into the ground. I'm sick of seeing you ruin the world! So many people die just because you and the others think you have a power that makes you gods! You're pathetic. You cling to these people's fragile lives instead of ruling them. That's because I'm not like you. The original Mark lifted him into the air and then hurled him with brutal force to the ground from hundreds of meters up, causing an explosion of debris. And after that, Mark descended at full speed to strike his variant, impacting directly against him. Sinister Mark spat blood after taking the hit, leaving him almost unable to move. This isn't your world. These aren't your people. So you're not gonna touch anyone else, understand? No, I won't. It's obviously you know nothing about me. You're right, and I don't care. After saying that, Mark delivered one last blow to his jaw, finally finishing off his evil version. He was breathing hard, his face covered in dust and sweat, but in a way he was more at ease with himself, because for the first time he had faced a version of himself that represented everything he feared becoming, and he won. Now that Goku and Mark had dealt with those variants, they both headed quickly toward their next opponents. However, they weren't the only ones fighting, because with so many variants on the loose, all available heroes were rushing into battle. One of the variants of Mark ended up attacking Cecil's base to finish off everyone inside, so the Guardians of the Globe were forced to fight him. The battle erupted in the control room, where Robot, Monster Girl, Duplicate, Adam Eve, Bulletproof, Black Samson, and Shrinking Ray were attacking with everything they had. At first, the brute strength of the alternate Mark gave them some trouble, but they managed to hold the fight against him. Is this the best this world has? Pathetic. I don't know what's worse, you lot, or the weak Mark you have for a hero.
He's not weak. You're just a bad copy.
Come on, team. Don't give him any space. Rex launched a rain of explosives, generating a curtain of smoke and shrapnel, while Adam Eve used her power to attack the variant. This was overwhelming the alternate Mark, since their attacks were stronger and more constant than he expected. And now that he was hurried, the Immortal hurled himself at full speed, crashing down like a meteor right on top of the alternate Mark, smashing him into the ground.
I've fought tyrants for centuries! You're nothing special! You're a bad copy of Invincible!
The Immortal didn't waste time and began pounding the variant, causing him great physical damage. The rest of the Guardians seized the moment to help the Immortal, attacking together and finally finishing off the alternate Mark. Was that all? No, this is just the beginning. While the Guardians were catching their breath, Nolan arrived at the battle site, because so much commotion had put him on alert. However, he was greatly surprised to see the variant Mark's body on the ground, making him wonder if that would have been his son's fate if he had been part of the Empire.
So, this is what Mark could have been if he had listened to me. You know full well that guy isn't Mark. You're right, but it unsettles me to think that this was his fate somewhere else.
Nolan decided to set those thoughts aside and turn to the Guardians.
How many more are there?
According to the broadcast, at least a dozen, for now.
And there's no time to lose. I'll take care of this.
While all this was happening and the world burned with chaos, at Mark's house the television was showing live images of the horror that was unfolding. Debbie watched in silence, gripping a coffee cup with trembling hands, while beside her was Oliver, who was paralyzed with his eyes fixed on the screen. Authorities confirmed that multiple subjects with an identical appearance to the hero, Invincible, are attacking cities, causing total destruction and numerous victims. Their origin is unknown, but each one possesses an unprecedented level of strength, and the security forces have been completely overwhelmed. After the reporter's words, you could see images of the attacks carried out by the variants, leaving Oliver and Debbie quite dismayed.
Impossible! They look like Mark, but it's not him, right?
No, It's not... Your brother wouldn't do something like that. I have to help him! Mark is out there fighting all of them! He can't do it alone! No, you're not going anywhere. Did you see what they're doing? It's dangerous, Oliver. But I have to try! My brother trained me for this! I can't stay here while he's risking his life! You're a child, Oliver! But I'm also his brother! Debbie fell silent at those words, while Oliver's face showed determination since he didn't want to leave his brothers in this situation. It's just that if something happens to you, I couldn't bear it. I've already lost too much. Mark won't fall, and neither will I! I promise I'll come back, Mom. After hearing that, Debbie just looked at Oliver, realizing how the little one she had fed and protected was now becoming something more. So, with no alternative, she nodded in pain because she knew she couldn't stop him. All right, but whatever happens, come home. Oliver hugged her tightly one last time and then shot out the window, flying at full speed toward the battlefield, using his new suit for this mission. Meanwhile, in the center of another city reduced to rubble was Mohawk Mark, who was descending from the clouds, floating with a deranged smile, looking at the bodies of the fallen soldiers around him. That was easy, and they said this world had heroes. However, he was not alone, because at his side was Viltrum Mark, a cruel and arrogant version of Mark wearing the Viltrumite Imperial attire. This was a waste of time. We should move on to our next objective. Don't be boring. We're free to act however we want. Before they could make a decision, in that instant, Goku appeared a few meters from them, looking around in surprise, because there were too many lifeless bodies on the ground. That made Goku clench his fists, as he was angry about the variant's actions, since in this world, people couldn't be brought back to life like in his. Haven't you had enough? And who are you? Another hero with a cape and inspiring lines? You don't seem ordinary. Who are you? I'm Goku. I don't care about what universe you came from. What I do care about is the people you two killed. You're gonna answer for every life you took. Mohawk Mark burst out laughing, not taking Goku's words seriously. This guy talks like the rest of the heroes, just with a dumber haircut. Do you really think you can stop us alone? I already did with 2 others. You'll be next. We'll see about that. Goku didn't respond to their comments. He just closed his eyes and then vanished from both of their sights. Before Mohawk Mark could realize it, he was met with a strong punch directly to the jaw, which sent him flying into the air. You bastard! The Viltrumite Mark launched himself straight at Goku at an overwhelming speed, but Goku blocked the first blow with one hand and then slammed him into the ground with a spinning move. And before he could get back up, Goku delivered a series of blows that left the Viltrumite Mark breathless. And while Goku was handling that, Mohawk Mark returned furious, since that punch had hurt a lot and even made him bleed. You won't get away with this! Realizing that Mohawk Mark had returned, Goku stopped hitting the other variant to focus on him. If you truly were versions of Mark, I don't understand how you strayed so far from what he is. This is what we really are, idiot! While the Mohawk was talking, the Viltrumite variant began to get up with his remaining strength to attack. Goku was already aware of this since he hadn't hit him seriously. He just wanted to see what their actions would be if he gave them a chance, understanding they had no remedy. Both Marks hurled themselves at Goku at once, trying to overwhelm him with their double attack. However, their attempt was in vain, as Goku stopped them both with ease, grabbing them by the arm at the same time. Both variants couldn't believe what they were seeing. Their attack had been stopped as if it were nothing. Although they tried to free themselves from his grip, they couldn't, since the difference in strength was immense. How is this possible? Damn it, we can't touch him! I tried to give you a chance to surrender, but none of you want to. Even though it pains me to see what you've become, I know there's no remedy. After saying that, Goku struck them hard in the stomach and then hurled them toward the sky shortly after. The variants had no strength to recover, so they went flying without stopping. But this time they wouldn't have the chance to touch the ground, because before they fell, Goku charged a burst of energy in one hand, intending to finish off both versions for good. Although this was against Goku's values, there seemed to be no other option to deal with them. So, after thinking it over, he launched his burst of energy at them. When the variants managed to open their eyes, they could only see a glow rapidly approaching them, which they couldn't avoid. While the energy struck them, there was a strong explosion in the sky, leaving the variants' bodies falling lifeless to the ground while smoking. Goku just looked at the scene, dissatisfied, as this wasn't like the fights he was used to participating in. This time he had to completely finish off his opponents. Although he was aware that they deserved it, Goku didn't feel comfortable ending his opponents, but it seemed they left him no other choice. However, there was no time to think about that, since there were still more variants on the loose. "I'd better go after the next ones. This isn't over yet." Goku prepared to teleport to look for his next opponent, ready to take care of the situation and protect Invincible's world along with the rest of the heroes.